is Thursday night, or as I'd like to call it, Friday Eve here at Beyond the Airways, the Infinity Project. And tonight is one of our wildcard shows, and it's Attention to One tonight. Now, I had a topic in mind before, but then I started noticing some stories about kids getting suspended in virtual learning. And I'm thinking, I think we ought to do this one instead.
Well,
So tonight we're going to cover the topic of how school rules are getting a little too much enforcement when the kids are stuck at home. And there's actually surprisingly a lot of material. So I mean, if we get 30 minutes, that's fine. I hope we shoot for 45, but this is fairly new because let's face it, COVID-19 has screwed everything up, right?
right.
Yes.
Well, anyway, I'm your host for tonight. I am Oddbog Stream. I'm joined on the line by three of my crazy cohorts. First, we have Spirit Spotter Tim. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, my dear.
We also have our resident Joker, Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday.
And right in time for Halloween, she's not the bitch witch. That's our friend Janet. Hello, Janet.
Hello.
Oh my.
Well, hey, I didn't even think about that one being Halloween.
Yeah. But hey, at least you're not Winifred Sanderson.
What?
Winifred
What?
Sanderson from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. I'm a. Are you a good witch or are you a bad witch?
I'm an oh my witch. Oh
Oh yeah, and you've got
my.
plenty of oh my's in there somewhere.
And I'm a witch who sells life shells. Oh God.
That does what?
I was trying to say I'm a witch who sells life insurance. I'll give you a $3,000 accidental death policy. Can you imagine a witch actually
Oh
doing that?
my.
No, it would have to be a whole different type of policies. I will
Yeah.
give you a $3,000 spell policy,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I'll give you $3,000 in accidental spell coverage in case you get cast and if you get turned into a rat. We'll make sure we pay you $3,000 to get your change back.
Oh my.
That would be the weirdest thing ever. A cartoon of witches selling insurance or
Well,
something.
it can't be any. It wouldn't be probably wouldn't be any worse than that damn emu.
Oh
Limu,
my.
oh Limu Emu, yeah. Oh, you know what? I've never did start that group last week. I just got so tied up. So,
It's
hopefully,
all good. It
yeah,
happens.
yeah. So hopefully Saturday afternoon when I'm finished, I should be
Oh,
able
well,
to
you
get it
didn't
set up.
introduce the Joker, did you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, it was Tim, then Mike, then you. So don't worry, I got everybody in. And by the way, a little update about my new job as an aspiring insurance agent. I like that. Guess what? I have my first appointment tomorrow.
Good.
Yay.
Where's your appointment going to be at? What city?
It's here in Montgomery.
Good.
Yeah, and then I actually have another one on Tuesday, and the best thing is that one will be right at the office.
So they're coming to you instead of you having to go out.
Right, because the good news is where they are, they're not even 5 minutes away, so it won't even be a big deal. All right, so anyway, let's get this thing started, shall we?
Yes, let's do that.
All right. So basically, what led me to the idea of doing this tonight was an article from last month, and let me go find it because I know where it is. I just have to go find it. Let's see. Go to
Can you
here.
please slide it into the Facebook chat since I'm
Sure.
not on Twitch?
Yeah, that's fine. Give me just a minute here. Y'all coming back now here?
Oh my.
Let's see. All right, I know I posted it. I just gotta go find it. Ah, here it is. All right, now I told this story I think last week during Warzone Wednesday, but I'm gonna do this one again because of the simple fact that, well, this is what led to it. And I started looking at these. I was like, he's not the only one who's been suspended. And I see, there's Ashley and Lurks. All right.
Lurks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Lurks has been in the chat on and off.
Okay. Cool. All right. So let me put this in here. 10, 15, 20. All right. So basically, all right. Let me get to the picture in picture. Go over here. All right. Okay, so here's what's going on. A fourth grade virtual learner got suspended for having a BB gun in his bedroom. Okay, now like I said, I probably read this last week, but I feel like now I've seen more stories coming out, so this isn't the only one anymore. Anyway, this is out of New Orleans, Louisiana. 9-year-old Kamari Harrison is a fourth grader at Woodmere Elementary, and this year he's a virtual learner, so his classroom is his bedroom. The school suspended Kamari for violating a federal weapons law. I feel like they were picking and totally just invading privacy. We can't have no privacy in the house, Nyron Harrison said. On September 11th, Kamori was taking a test on the computer when his dad says Kamori's brother walked into the room and tripped over Kamori's BB gun. Kamori picked it up and moved it out of the way, out of the walking path. When he moved it, he picked it up briefly and set it on the other side of him, Harrison said. According to the paperwork from his expulsion hearing, the teacher's account of what happened matches Kamori's. She stated he placed it on the side of his chair so that we could only see the barrel. You know, she had an obligation to report this to the principal, but her obligation ended there, and from there, this is where everything went awry, Harrison's attorney Chelsea Cusimano said. Cusimano attended Kamori's hearing. The policies in place are so robotic in nature to apply guns on campus. They went into this school year without any policy or procedure on how to handle the privacy of someone's own home, Cusimano said. The Jefferson Parish school system told us they don't comment on individual student records but pointed to its online policies. The policy stated in part illegal carrying, possession of use of a firearm or dangerous weapon within the boundaries of school property or on a school bus is a crime. Um, there's one problem here. He was in his house, not on the school property, not on a bus. This is a privacy issue. Not only is this a due process issue and an intentional issue of emotional distress on a 9-year-old, it's a Second Amendment right to bear arms issue, Cusimano said. I think all of this could have been thrown out the window when the teacher found out what the situation was, Harrison said. Nyron Harrison doesn't believe his home should be considered an extension of school property and says his son became humiliated when the school asked his classmates to write letters about the incident. Really?
Oh man, that's
And
really going to turn that kid off to school, isn't it?
Yep. Embarrassed and he felt like he did something wrong, Harrison said. School officials suspended Kalmori for 6 days. He's now been submitted for a social worker assessment. This is not a child that needs a social worker's assessment, Cusimano said. The weapons violation is now a part of Kalmori's permanent public school record. It's going to follow him going to college, picking colleges and whatnot, Harrison said. This is a prejudgment of a 9-year-old that will impact his educational career for the rest of his life, Cusimano said.
Especially try if he wants to go to college.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I'm going to see if there's any update to this one because it was, let's see, Ari Harrison. Let's see if there's any update to this. Okay, there is an update to this. Okay.
Good.
All right. Here it is. The Louisiana House of Representatives passes the Kalmori Harrison Act in Jefferson Parish BB gun case. So let me put these links into all the chats. Give me just a second because I remember they were talking about this. So let's see. Now I need to get the Discord. Put it in there. Alright, so this was published on Tuesday, and this is out of Baton Rouge. The Louisiana House of Representatives has unanimously passed a bill related to the case of a Jefferson Parish student who was suspended for handling a BB gun during his virtual class. House Bill 83, better known as the Kamari Harrison Act, will give families more protections during virtual learning. Fourth grader Kamari Harrison was taking a virtual assessment in September when his younger brother tripped over a BB gun in his bedroom. Jefferson Parish Public Schools then suspended him for 6 days for handling the gun. Jefferson Parish Schools stated that the 9-year-old was suspended because his room was an extension of the classroom and he violated laws on campus. Huh?
What?
Yeah, no.
No.
He didn't do any of that.
No. Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry later became involved with the case and pushed for Harrison's suspension to be appealed. He joined Dillard University President Walter Kimbrough, the NRA, and the ACLU in demanding that his suspension be rescinded. Now that's a rarity. The NRA and the ACLU actually coming together? That's a
I can
shock.
understand maybe the ACLU, but the NRA?
Yeah, that's a surprise. Anyway, Landry released a statement after the bill's passing Tuesday saying, "Today, the Louisiana House, in a bipartisan and unanimous manner, passed the Kamari Harrison Act, which will ensure due process for our children in this age of virtual learning. I thank Representative Romero and Chairman Garofalo for sponsoring this important students' rights bill. Most importantly, I thank the bill's namesake, Kamari Harrison, who has shown courage and maturity well beyond his years. I now look forward to working with Senator Fields to secure a smooth passage to the upper chamber. The bill now moves to the House. The bill moves to the Louisiana Senate for a vote that is scheduled to happen today."
I hope it blinking passes.
I hope so too, because boy, this is just plain ridiculous.
I think it is too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the school should have to apologize to the student.
Yep. But yeah, there are a lot of stories coming out of this already. Like for example, Indy K-12. This is obviously from Indiana. You see, I was thinking he was the only one. Oh no, he's not. He isn't the only one. And there's Sajo in the chat.
Hi, Sajo.
Hey, Shajo. I will be
Sajo.
returning to mod view here in a minute.
That's fine. But yeah, this is really starting to get out of hand already.
Oh, they think that just because they're part of the teaching community or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that they can shit on people.
Yeah. Tell me about it. It's like some people is like, what the hell? I mean, these kids are at home. They're not at school.
Oh, I wouldn't blame the parents for getting thoroughly peeved and pulling their kids out of even the virtual school.
Yeah, I agree. Alright, let me get this next one in here before I forget. There we go. Alright. So anyway, this is courtesy of Indy.Education from Indiana. Alright, so this thing is called "Kids Are Already Getting Suspended from E-Learning for Silly Reasons," and this was posted back on September 10th. So, there are few positives that come from COVID-19 from an education perspective. Millions of students have their academic, athletic, and social lives interrupted. Not only have students fallen behind, but they are also missing out on critical services like food, counseling, and in many cases, medical attention. But if you had, if it, bleh, let me start again. But if you had asked someone to give one pro of switching to e-learning a month ago, they probably would have said something around discipline and suspensions. One would assume there would be no reason to suspend students as they are already out of school, and there is only so much you can do in a Zoom room. However, this has not totally been the case. As soon as school returned, there were reports of students being suspended, some for violating the norms, in quotes, teachers set in their Zoom rooms, others for playing with toy guns and issues of similar nature. One could certainly question the validity of over-policing student behavior in their own homes. And while that is a fair conversation, the real question is, why are we suspending students from e-learning in the first place? Now, this is the writer, Andrew Pillow's words. For context, I have never been one of those people that feels like there was never a place for out of school suspensions. Obviously, some schools take it too far. We shouldn't overuse them, but in my decade of teaching experience, I can think of a few reasons we should, and virtually none of those reasons apply to e learning. A classroom is a delicate environment, and sometimes maintaining a culture conducive to learning, unfortunately, necessitates removing students. That flies out the window with online learning. Students are not in the same place, so finding or being a danger to other students physically is out the window. Zoom and other applications like it will only allow students to do what the teacher allows them to do. All features that can be used to disrupt, like chat and video, can be turned off. That's true. The applications that students complete their work on a largely devoid on bleh, let me try that again. The applications that students complete their work on are largely devoid of any features that allow them to interact with students outside of permission from the teacher. Cyberbullying through school applications is the only decent reason that I can come up with for temporarily barring a student from e learning, but even that is pushing it because, as mentioned above, most schools have administrative features that can prevent such interactions. Suspensions are obviously down, but they should virtually be non existent in the virtual setting. Do the right thing.
There we go.
Seriously.
Hey, Shirley, look at the Twitch chat for a second.
Okay. Ah! Joker! You
I
changed your
changed
name.
my username, and Ash did
Nice.
too.
Nice. Cool. Alright. Awesome sauce. Let's see. Here's another one. Chalkbeat.org. Virtual suspensions, mask rules, more trauma. Yeah, okay, so let me get this to everybody's chat. One. Then over here to Twitch. Two. This makes it easier for me, trust me. And Discord for number three.
I keep forgetting about the Discord.
Don't worry, I've got that figured out. Alright, so. Now this was done on August 21st by Callan. Is that Belsha? Belsha, yep. So here's the title: Virtual Suspensions, Mask Rules, More Trauma. Why some worry a student discipline crisis is on the horizon. So, oops, let me get out of here. Alright. As American students head back into their virtual or real life classrooms, new rules await. In Jacksonville, Florida, students who don't wear a mask repeatedly could be removed from school and made to learn online. In some Texas districts, intentionally coughing on someone can be classified as assault. You remember some of the adults? Remember that one person up in I think it was Pennsylvania? She spit on all the meat and cost the store $45,000?
They ever bust her ass?
Yes, I believe they did. Alright, in Memphis, minor misbehaviors could land students in an online supervised study. In other words, in school suspension. Alright, it's amounting to a flood of changes to school rules and discipline codes at a time of heightened stress for students, parents, and teachers. Those rules reflect schools' attempts to make learning during a pandemic safe and possible. But the increased attention to student misbehavior has advocates and many parents very worried that that students who are disproportionately removed from classrooms before the pandemic, namely black and native students and students with disabilities, will bear the brunt of these new consequences, undermining schools' promises to provide students from hard-hit communities with extra social and emotional support. We have seen and felt the impact of having a black child with learning differences and how that's been treated disciplinarily. So I've got a lot of concerns, said Cassandra Kazoka, a parent of a son headed into 8th grade in Chicago, when schools are set to start virtually and monitor student engagement over a 6-hour school day. He can't sit there and look at the screen the whole time and give the appropriate cues to the teacher that he's paying attention. And at a time when many students are already struggling emotionally and have missed a lot of instruction, harsh discipline or removing students could have particularly worrisome consequences. It is the definition of taking a crisis and making it worse, said Liz King, who directs the Education Equity Program at the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, an umbrella organization of civil rights groups. We need to find better ways to support children and better ways to support families. That was always true, but the urgency now is just incomparable. Now, here's why people are worried. Schools across the country have promised that they will focus on addressing students' social and emotional needs as they head back to school. In some cases, prioritizing that before getting students back on track academically in recognition of the toll taken by both the coronavirus pandemic and the country's ongoing reckoning with its history of racism and the police killings of black Americans. But parents and educators are still worried that the pandemic could set off a new wave of harsh discipline for students. Schools are under a lot of added pressure to keep students and educators safe, and some kinds of misbehavior could carry big health risks. Removing a face mask or intentionally coughing on others could spread illness. Even a public display of affection in a high school hallway could now be considered a safety risk, said Dan Lawson, who directs the Center for Civil Rights Remedies, part of the Civil Rights Project at UCLA. Teachers, many worried about their own health, may be on edge, perhaps leaving students less room for error. On top of that, it's likely there will be an uptick in misbehavior. With their movement restricted, students will have fewer avenues to de-stress. Some students will be experiencing
Excuse me.
new or added trauma, you're excused, which can cause students to act out. Several advocates said they were especially worried about black, Hispanic, and Native children whose families have experienced higher levels of illness and death during the pandemic.
Like what's going on the Navajo reservation here right now.
Right. Those communities' experiences have differed, but in many cases they've also faced higher rates of job or economic loss as well as food insecurity. Students may disrupt classrooms, need more attention from their teachers, or have some real anger about how this situation has impacted themselves and their family and not be able to express that, said Miranda Johnson, a clinical professor of law at Loyola University Chicago who studies school discipline. That makes learning harder, and the teachers will have fewer tools at their disposal. Typical interventions like pats on the back or close up chats are harder now, and while some schools are still holding restorative peace circles to hash out conflicts, it's unclear how effective those are in a virtual or socially distanced setting. Another issue, school officials say that decisions about whether a student should be disciplined will often come down to figuring out their intent, which is hard to do even in normal times. Such subjective decisions have also been a key driver of racial disparities in school discipline. Johnson worries students of color will act out. Let's see, try that again. Johnson worries students of color who act out will be labeled as defiant, while white students will be perceived as in need of social and emotional support. That actually does make sense. Nationally, black students and students with disabilities are much more likely than their peers to be suspended or expelled from school, while Native students also face higher than average rates of exclusionary discipline. All the situations that we know make people vulnerable to bias.
Good girl.
Yeah. All the situations so all the situations that we know make people vulnerable to bias exist in this situation, Johnson said. High stress situations, people are at their limits both professionally and personally. Lots of discretion in these decisions because there's not clear guidance, and everyone is sort of making things up as they go, which is kind of true in this case.
Well, we've never had a situation like this before.
Mm-mm.
So there's really not a precedent to go on.
Right.
So yes, you do have to make it up as you go along.
Right. So here are how schools are planning. As the new year begins, schools are adjusting student codes of conduct to account for the complexities of the coronavirus. Take wearing a face mask. Failure to wear one will be classified as a dress code violation in several districts, with escalating consequences for repeat offenses. That's the case in
Hello,
Duval
puppy.
County, Florida, where the first time a student doesn't wear a mask, they'll have to fill out a safety contract. By the fourth time, the student could be removed from in-person schooling. The school's chancellor in New York City, Richard Carranza, said earlier this month that students who don't comply with face mask requirements will be barred from in-person learning. Though in some places the consequences could be criminal. In Utah, students and staff who don't wear a face mask could be charged with a misdemeanor. Wow, that is kind of going a little overboard on that one. Let's see. Another common revision to student codes of conduct are consequences if a student intentionally spits, sneezes, or coughs on someone else. In
Oh,
some
come on, princess. Damn it.
in some Texas school districts like Fort Worth ISD and the Houston-based Spring ISD, it will be treated as a type of assault. In both places, school officials would quickly remove the involved students from their classroom and try to figure out whether the behavior was done on purpose. In Spring ISD, if a student takes off their mask before spitting or coughing, school officials will assume the act was intentional according to district documents, which could result in a suspension. Let's see. In the Weld RE4 district based in Windsor, Colorado, officials have warned that students who come to school while awaiting a COVID test result will be suspended. Remote learning has spawned other new rules or warnings that students will be held to similar standards as they would be in school while at home, particularly around dress code and their workspaces. In Shelby County, Tennessee, which includes Memphis, that means no pajamas, hats, or hoods on screen, and student shirts must have sleeves. The district is providing flexibility on clothing bottoms and footwear when a student's full body won't be seen on video. Other rules might be even tougher to follow. The district is also requiring students' workstations to be clear of foreign objects and says students shouldn't eat or drink during virtual classes. Really? I like to drink my water. Okay?
The biggest thing these schools need to remember is that students are at home.
Mm-hmm.
You might be in a virtual classroom performing school functions, but you're physically in your own home.
Right.
Bingo.
Mm-hmm. School districts are also making decisions about whether and when students can be muted in an online classroom, lose access to email or online privileges, or be virtually suspended or expelled. That's kind of overdoing it. Several education advocates said they were worried that new forms of discipline online may look like a suspension in practice but not be tracked that way or released as part of a district's usual discipline data, potentially leaving parents and the public in the dark. We're looking at ways school districts might be informally excluding students, like don't come back to the Google Meet or the Zoom room for a couple of days, said Johnson of Loyola University Chicago. If that were to happen in an in person setting, it would be considered a suspension. So I think similarly, it should be considered a suspension if it's happening remotely. In Memphis, a new virtual code of conduct. Let me start that again.
Context.
No, it's conduct actually. In Memphis, a new virtual code of conduct encourages teachers to avoid removing students completely from a virtual class. But if students are too disruptive, teachers can limit student audio or video, and students can be placed in a short online supervised study for minor misbehaviors or supervised virtual suspension for more serious ones. That's not too bad. In Chicago, a recent revision to the Student Code of Conduct allows principals to block a student's access to email or the district's online programs if the student is disruptive or creates an unsafe learning environment. The policy says a student can't be blocked indefinitely and that privilege should be restored once there's a plan to address the safety issue. It's unclear exactly how schools will be held accountable for these moves. The district says it will track principal requests to restrict students' online access, but losing access for a full day won't count as a suspension. And then there are the most severe cases. Parents who've been referred to social services when their children don't participate in remote learning. In Massachusetts, as the Boston Globe recently documented, school officials report dozens of families to state social workers for possible neglect. Often, their children attend school districts that predominantly serve black and Hispanic students from low income families. Given all that we know about the racial contours of the digital divide and the homework gap, it is just indefensible to apply a punishment framework to children who are not connecting with their classroom teacher, said King of the Leadership Conference. Now, some schools are trying to be proactive, but questions do remain. Some school districts are crafting plans for how to handle misbehavior in ways that don't exclude students from the virtual or regular classroom. In Spring ISD, the district where intentionally spitting on coughing on someone will now be classified as assault. Some 35,000 students from the Houston area began the new school year remotely this week. Now, keep in mind, this was back in August. The district recently held a virtual training for principals about handling student behavior, where Superintendent Ronnie Watson said trainers pushed educators to think about whether their strategies could contribute to existing inequities. The district also identified students that had a lot of infractions last year, Watson said, and is targeting them for extra support this year. We're going to be really looking at that from a prevention side, Watson said. We really want to make sure that someone's acting out is not a product of their basic needs not being met. Spring ISD also plans to collect and examine data on COVID related infractions broken by race, gender, and economic status. District officials will use that to watch for possible disparities and decide if policies need changing, Watson said. Winfred Adams Jr., a Spring ISD school board member and parent of 3 children in the district, said he'll be watching to make sure the district regularly provides that data. If it isn't, I will ask for it to be, he said. He's especially concerned about how the new coronavirus related rules could affect students with disabilities. We want to make sure we're protecting our teachers from exposure, and we want to have clear guidelines for conduct, but I have a concern about some of those kids, he said. To Adaku Onyeka Crawford, the Director of Educational Equity and a Senior Counsel at the National Women's Law Center, the risk is that old patterns will repeat themselves during the year ahead. But this could be a moment for schools to do things like relax dress codes or rethink suspension and expulsion policies, she said. Now is the time we start to undo those things, she said, and to actually get at whatever trauma or stress students are bringing into the classroom, whether virtual or physical, and try to provide that counseling or those supporters who help them through it. And that's the end of the article.
You know, this is a whole new fucking ball game with us.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Whole new ball game with us. And people need to be flexible with the rules because, like I said, it's a whole new thing for us.
Yeah, it is.
And in order for us to, excuse me,
Your excuse.
you know how when they first started public schools,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have a pre-plan to start with.
Yeah.
They had to kind of do like Indiana Jones is making Indiana Jones and making it up as they go along
Mm-hmm.
till they finally found something that worked.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
Yep, you're
Oh,
right. All right, listen, I need to
right.
step away for a minute. I gotta grab me some water.
That's fine.
So I will be right back. I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to turn the camera off temporarily. So you guys talk among yourselves. I'll be right back.
Yeah. I am just glad that, you know, they need to work more with people. You know, try
Mm-hmm.
to work more with people because this situation is so unprecedented. It ain't funny. Is everybody still there?
I'm here. I'm here.
But I hear Tim too. But it's just such a shame.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that BB gun was bought to school, you know, bought to this physical school, then that would be a horse of a different color. But
Right.
the BB gun was in his bedroom.
I'd go a step further with that. It's in his own home.
Right, in his own home. Yeah, it was in his home.
And he wasn't wielding it around.
No, he
Like
was just putting it aside so no one would trip over the damn thing. That's basically all he was doing. You okay, Tim?
I just gotta get something to drink.
Okay, Tim.
And I think I banged my leg on something.
Wow.
Ouch.
And you
Tim.
know that what?
Suggestion about your one problem?
After the show.
Right.
Not
Because
while we're on the air. Not
Let's
while
just
we're
say
on the
I
air.
have the same problem as you do. And that's all I'm
Tim,
going to
go
say.
get a drink, please.
No, I already did it.
Okay, sorry.
I said that's
I'm not
why
gonna
I'm
yell-
hurt.
I wasn't going to say it over the air.
Sorry.
I know that, Jam, but I don't want to talk about it on the air.
Okay. Now, where is that other critter? But it's just plain crazy the way some adults tend to overreact. Oh, that BB gun's going to hurt somebody.
Not the way that it was seen in the online video. It's not. That's why I said there's a difference between the gun being there and somebody, the student or otherwise, picking it up, pointing it at somebody, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm back.
Right.
I'm back, by the way.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, let's see. JJ's in the chat room, so All right, that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is starting to get out of hand. It really is.
I'm in total agreement with you.
Because, one, these are kids. I mean, should they be doing anything wrong? No. But it's like, here's my question. Take a look at how messy my room is. Would they suspend me for this?
Yeah, they better not.
And well, number one, it's a kid's room, it's a boy's room,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a kid's room, it's a boy's room.
Right.
I've got to wash my hair before I go anywhere tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I say they overdid it.
Yeah.
They overstepped their bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Oh
They
yeah.
figure, oh, I'm an adult. You're just a kid.
Yeah.
Get used to it.
Okay. Now, here's something really interesting. This gonna turn things on its ear a little bit. What if I said this? A high school student gets suspended for actually going to class on a remote learning day.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I kid you not.
Going to class on a remote learning day?
Yeah. Uh huh. As crazy
Oh,
as it
this will
sounds.
be interesting.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting. I
Yeah.
know it
This is
is.
yeah. This is like it's like it's the exact opposite this time.
Yeah.
So give me just a second here. Let me get that in there. And that's gonna help me when I upload the episode to YouTube later. Okay. Now this was September 8th. I think this was a couple weeks before that incident in Louisiana. So here's what's going on. A Long Island high school student, let me try that again. A Long Island high school senior is reportedly facing a 5-day suspension after he ignored protocol by showing up to class Tuesday when he was scheduled to learn remotely. I was going to school like students should be going to school. Maverick Stowe, 17-year-old student at William Floyd High School, explained to WABC of why he attended in-person classes on the first day of school. I think that a 5-day suspension is out of line, Stowe, who has the support of his parents, told the outlet. Stowe said trouble first arose when his first period teacher noticed he wasn't on Tuesday's in person roster. The teacher sent Stowe to the principal's office and he was asked to report home. Well, no, I think I need to go to class. This is during class time, Stowe said as he responded to administrators. Instead of following their orders, Stowe said he finished the day learning in class before being notified of the disciplinary action. His mother, Norrin Kaplan Stowe, agreed with her son's decision. Kids need to be in school every day. Virtual learning is not learning, she told WABC. My son is being suspended because he wants to be in school. Added the student's father, Richard Stowe, he's a very smart kid. He knows what he's doing. When he said this is how he wanted to handle things, we were like, then go for it. A spokesman for the school district, James Montalto, said in a statement that for the school to comply with state mandated social distancing measures, students must abide by their hybrid schedules. Students who refuse to adhere to their scheduled in-person let me start that again. Students who refuse to adhere to their scheduled in-person days and or flagrantly disregard directives to leave school grounds and cause a disruptive environment for other students will face disciplinary actions, Montalto said. That's the end of the story. So, what do you guys think?
That could very well have been an innocent mistake for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
If students don't have their hybrid schedule, or they don't have access to it, or heaven forbid, they have access to it and forgot what day it was,
Mm-hmm.
let's not kick them out of class for it.
Yeah.
Or it could have been an act of rebellion on his part, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of people who don't like the virtual learning.
Yeah, but the way the story described the fact that he said, I need to go to class, and considering that students who are 16, 17 years of age really would rather not go to class,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the case here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a possibility, I'll give you that, but I really don't think that's the case here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's another one we'll be following.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if you heard. Yeah, seriously, I don't know if you heard this. 36 states are getting into the second wave of coronavirus.
I believe it. And the only reason we're getting a second wave is because people still aren't doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
I personally don't buy into the notion of a second wave.
Mm-hmm.
Rather, I think this is the same wave coming back around
Yeah, you're probably right.
because, because people are still not doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And who
Because
do we have
there
to
was
thank for that?
A certain number, I think it's
uh,
45, I think.
Right.
yeah, I think it's an orange faced Cheeto Von Tweedo that's going to be fired in less than a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this is really getting serious. I mean, kids are having to learn at home. Everybody's had to, parents have to turn their homes into virtual offices. You know, um, like for example, WSFA, they have Today in Alabama. Judd and Bethany Davis, they've always done the news from their house.
Uh-huh.
But now it has switched up.
Good night.
Yeah, Tanya
Go ahead.
Terry is now doing the news from her house for the time being. Practice social
And that's
distancing and such.
understandable.
Right.
Man, some of the newscasters, like Channel 3, some of the newscasters are still doing it virtually.
Mhm.
And then some of the newscasters are back on the set with their extreme social distancing, which is a good thing.
Mhm. Okay. Now, here's a story that let's just say this causes a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to virtual learning, and this time, these guys are in trouble. These guys are in trouble for all the
Right
right
reasons or
reasons.
wrong
The
reasons?
right reasons this time. Hold on, I have to turn ad blocker off because as much as I like it, it does not like to. It's like, sorry, we're not gonna show the story unless you do this first. So yeah, this time this was done for all the right reasons. So I'm gonna put that in here.
There are ways around that, for the record.
Yeah. Yeah, JJ's got a good question. What about those students who can't do the virtual learning?
Yeah, school. If that's the case, school should be providing the computer for the students to use,
I
and then
agree.
return at the end of the
It's not
school year.
not everybody can afford a $700 laptop.
Well, depending on the situation, you can get some for like under 200 actually.
You could get the little
Like
notebook
the little
Yeah,
Chromebook, yeah.
the
Chromebooks.
miniature computers. Yeah, the ones that don't have much to them.
Mhm.
Yeah, but some people can't even afford that.
That's
Well,
true too.
that's the point where I feel schools should be providing laptops for
For
students.
rent.
Mhm.
Yeah, for rent. You don't
Virtually.
school owns the machine, so you'll have to return it at the end of the school year. Because
Mhm.
most people are going to have internet access at home,
Right.
but they're not may not have the machine. Now, if they don't have internet at home, then there might be a problem. But I highly doubt that's the case nowadays.
Mhm.
It's possible, but I think it's rare.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Especially with all the smartphones and everything out there, people are more than likely going to have internet at home.
yeah.
So it's just going to come down to having the machine.
Mhm.
I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk and working on one of my Fish World fish tanks,
Uh-huh.
That's
and
fine.
I'm social distancing my premiums in my tank.
All right. Well, anyway, listen to this one. 9 students suspended for reportedly posting porn and threatening teachers in virtual classes.
Oh yeah, wasn't that during a
Mm.
Zoom class?
I believe it was.
I
Any-
think I heard about this.
yeah. Well, anyway, here's what happened. Let me see. This took place on. The story was updated September 22nd, and it was written by Avalon Zappo. Yes, that's the author's name, Avalon Zappo, but that's not important here. Anyway,
No, it isn't.
9 Patterson School District students are being suspended for disrupting multiple virtual classrooms they were not enrolled in during the first week of at home instruction, the school district said. The students were able to enter the remote classes using links shared with them by their peers. Once inside, they interrupted lessons, including by sharing pornographic material and making threats to teachers, according to NorthJersey.com. In some cases, police reports were filed and the Passaic County Prosecutor's Office was alerted, district spokesman Paul Brubaker said. The district has communicated directly to students and parents, reminding them that links to virtual classes should not be shared with anyone, and the district has instructed teachers to regularly change the links to their virtual classrooms, Brubaker said. The incident highlights one of technological challenges tied to remote instruction. In April, Lumberton Public Schools in Burlington County temporarily halted the use of Zoom after a hacker showed inappropriate content and used racist language during a middle school class session. Excuse me. Someone's going the wrong way down my throat. Brubaker
Oh
said
my.
Patterson students who share codes or links to virtual classrooms will be penalized, and the administration has reminded school principals of the measures teachers can take to prevent intrusions. Now, the week before, hold on, let me drink some water here real quick. The week before, the district released guidelines for responding to disruptive behavior during remote instruction, and a letter was sent to staff explaining how to respond if intrusions happen in class. Remote learning will continue in Patterson until at least November 1st, my birthday.
Well, what were those assholes?
Yep,
What were they there to prove?
I don't know. There have been fewer reports of disturbances in the past week, he said, but even one intrusion and disruption of a class is way too many. We will continue to hold our students accountable. And that's the end of it. So, yeah, it makes sense. It makes absolute sense. Oh, sorry.
Oh, don't get me started.
Sorry.
Damn you!
Oh my.
All right.
He said
Well, you know what? Let's see. We're at
sorry.
9:47. I think we done it. I think we got a lot in here tonight. Don't you think?
Uh huh.
I think
It
so.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, real quick, Shirley.
Yes.
For some reason, and I think this might be because I changed my username on Twitch,
Mhm.
but it shows me as a viewer and not a mod as I am supposed to be.
Okay. Let me head over there and see if I can fix that.
Well, I have what you could do. In the Twitch chat in the chat box,
Uh huh.
type in /unmod and then my username, which
Okay.
is Joker BTA. Which
Okay.
in the chat list, it's the first letter J is capitalized.
Okay. Brought to you by the letter J.
And yes, we are doing troubleshooting live.
Yeah. That's right. Welcome to Troubleshooting Live. Okay. So. All right. Mike, can you type something in the chat room so I can do something about that? And that's right, folks. Welcome to Infinity and Beyond.
Beyond.
In the chat box, it's gonna show my name in all caps because that's
Okay.
how I have it set to display.
Okay.
But in the user list, it shows the J capitalized, which is weird. It shouldn't be.
Okay. That's weird. It's not gonna let me do this.
Is it because we're live?
Maybe that's it. Maybe because we're live right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll wait. We'll come back to it. And yes, there it is, folks. Infinity.
Inception.
Yep.
And
Oh
beyond.
my.
Yep. Yeah, that could be the
Oh,
case.
God.
We just can't do it while we're live. So we'll fix that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna fix that somehow. So we won't worry about it. But we'll worry about it later. But yeah. But yes, folks, we can do troubleshooting live on the air. I'm kidding.
Oh
Fix
my.
all kinds of issues live.
My.
No. Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
my.
Yes.
All
Oh,
right. Well, I'll tell you.
I
Well,
reckon.
now we've got practically out of the subject. I'll switch back to the regular Zoom here. Ta-da. All right. Anyway, I'll tell you something. All week long, Price is Right. They're still in rerun mode. I can understand why. That's no big deal. But they've been doing like the five biggest money, like the five biggest winners ever on The Price is Right. If I remember right, I don't remember what happened Monday, but one day somebody won a $131,000 Mercedes Benz. That's right, $131,000.
That's a
Heyo.
lot of scratch.
Yeah, it is. And then the next day they were showing one lady. They had an Audi, and she won that car. $157,000.
I think my folks were watching that.
Yeah. And then today, they were showing like another big winner. And here's the thing: she had a shot at $250,000 on cliffhangers. Although she didn't quite get the $250,000, she still walked off with $210,000.
Plus the prizes.
Yep. Plus the three prizes, which I believe were I can't remember the first one. The second was a personal heater, and the third was like a like a some sort of mixer type deal.
Yeah.
She did good though. She got one of them right on the dot. So
Oh, yeah. That does happen on occasion.
oh yeah. Because I remember yesterday there was a guy. I think there was a guy trying to win a car, but unfortunately it was also cliffhangers, and he went over.
Oh, God, on his first guess.
Mhm.
No, on his second
Oh
guess.
dear.
Yeah. Mhm.
First time he went up 7,
Yeah.
and the second time he went over the edge.
Yeah, let's see. Sajo said, don't forget the hurricane season ends on November 30th. Oh, yeah. We still got plenty of time for more tropical trouble, so.
Well,
Nobody go
don't
outside and
forget, don't
start doing.
forget that you'll only be in it. Shirley,
Mhm.
don't forget the fact that you'll only be an hour ahead of me on the 7th of November.
Yep, you're right.
Oh, God, and that's going to
And
throw all my TV viewing out of whack, too.
Oh, yeah. It'll throw everybody off.
Nobody go out and do any hurricane dances now. You hear?
Ooh,
Try
me?
not to.
Are you telling me?
Anybody, anybody.
Yeah. Because let's face it, this year, 2020 has just been nuts. Period. So many of the people we love have died. Eddie Van Halen, rest in peace. Some of the greatest guitarists ever. But yeah, we had 10 storms make landfall in the U.S. That is a record. Last time that happened, I believe it said it was 1916.
Oh
Oh,
my.
Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, we had 28 named storms in 2005. Of course, part of it went actually into 2006. But it's just gotten crazy. It's really gotten crazy.
do you think the gods are trying to tell us something?
But Mother Nature's trying to sell us some. Yeah, Mother Nature's probably telling them something. But I mean, let's face it, we've got a crazy election, coronavirus, all these disasters, and so forth and so on. It's like, can we please just get to 2021 already?
I
Yes, for
just,
all that is holy, please get us out
hmm
of this mess.
Yep.
well,
But
you know what?
I like
I
to.
would think it's going to be a wonderful day
Mm,
when a certain somebody gets kicked in the ass.
yep. Well, the broccoli dip, I'll kick your ass.
Oh my.
Thank you, Wayne Brady.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but but it's like when you get all these reports of kids getting suspended for all the crazy reasons because of the virtual learning, it's like, no, they're at
No.
home. They're not at school. They're not on school property. Why the hell
They're,
are you suspending him?
they're
Right?
If they
not
were,
even in a school function.
Mm-hmm.
you know what I told Tim?
What?
Um, what was it I told you while she was away, Tim?
I don't remember.
Don't worry about
Um,
it.
it was something about if they were on campus, that would have been one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but they were at their home,
Yeah.
and it's like, hey,
Yeah, at least down in
that,
Louisiana, the Republicans and Democrats actually agree on something here.
uh huh.
So, I hate it.
Let me see what.
It's just Frodo.
Yeah.
Saying,
Ding,
saying we should all
ding.
get a copy of Among Us on Steam and play it on Steam because that would get a lot of views.
Sorry, I can't. I have a job, so take sorry, job first.
Wait, what? No, what now?
He wants us to play Among Us on Steam. I can't. Not with my job.
I've never even heard of that.
That's a popular new game. I think it just came out this week, didn't it, Mike?
No, it came out a while ago. It, it was out on Steam first for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then it came out on mobile. I think
Uh,
Among Us is still in early access, I believe.
okay. All right, cool. Thanks for telling us that. All right,
Hmm.
so anyway, we've got less than 4 minutes left in the episode. Can you come on back in a minute?
Oh, hurry back.
No, no. Uh, that's Mom, by the way.
Oh,
She probably needs help with her iPad again. Yeah, but anyway, of course, tomorrow night is our Friday Fun Day featuring our nearly naughty Mad Libs, and I'm going to say this just one more. I'm going to say this a few more times before the end of the year. We're gonna change up Fun Day Fridays. We're gonna do not only the Mad Libs. We got all bad cards, but we do have a family-friendly version, so you don't have to worry about anything. And then who knows what else we'll add.
oh,
So we're gonna be in for fun tomorrow night. And like I said, next year we're going to be expanding the fun quite a bit, right?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. If you're feeling warm, you all feel cozy, that's good. If it's cold outside, be careful. Wear something comfortable, okay? Me, I know it's going to be breezy tomorrow, and it's going to drop in the 40s tomorrow night.
Supposed to drop in like mid 30s tonight. We're
Mm.
under a freeze warning.
Ah, all right. So anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and start by doing the ending. And by the way, I should tell you I did not have enough time to put the Discord in there, so there's only 5 things, not 6. So
come on, Frodo.
all right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say love, peace, and chicken grease. Everybody have a great night. Sleep well, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow for a Friday Fun Day. Night, everybody.
Night, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Jonna.